In 2025, there were 681 sales tax rate changes across the United States. That is one of the highest total on record. So 335 brand new taxing jurisdictions were created. That is more than double the new taxing cities that is compared to the year before. So sales tax, well, it's getting harder to get right. It's not easier. And picking the wrong tool to manage it, well, that costs real money. So what I did was I went through more than 10 of the most popular options. Mid-market solutions like TaxCloud, legacy enterprise players like Avalara and Vertex, tools that have been acquired by bigger companies like TaxJar, which is now owned by Stripe, and some of the newer startups like Numeral and Anrok. And here is what I found. I looked at 6 things across every single tool, and then I evaluated all of them through the lens of what actually matters to a growing e-commerce business. And pricing that scales with your business was the priority. It's flexible, is it transparent, or do the costs spiral the bigger you get? Also, I looked at ease of setup. Can you get compliant in days, not months, without a dedicated implementation team? Also, platform integrations. Does it connect to the tools e-commerce businesses are actually running on, like Shopify or WooCommerce, BigCommerce, and QuickBooks Online? Filing capabilities as well. So how many states? How automated? And what does it cost per filing? Audit support. So if a state comes knocking, does somebody actually step in and help, or are you on your own? And finally, who the tool is really built for, because a tool that is designed for small sellers that are pushing orders through, let's say, Amazon and eBay is a completely different animal from a tool that is designed for a brand that is doing 5 to 20 million in revenue. So even if they look similar on a features page. So I'm going to start with my top pick, and then I'm going to walk you through the alternatives, because once you see what is available at this price point, I'm telling you, it changes how you evaluate everything else. So for mid-market e-commerce businesses, TaxCloud, hands down, is the best overall sales tax software in 2026. Here's why. It is the only tool on this list that's going to let you hand sales tax off completely to a team that you can actually trust to handle it correctly, so you finally can focus on growing your business. Now, TaxCloud combines the end-to-end automation, including the filing, the real-time calculations across over 13,000 jurisdictions, and the pre-built integrations. So with Shopify, WooCommerce, BigCommerce, and QuickBooks Online, with real human support from US-based tax experts when things, get complicated. So you're not navigating sales tax alone, and you're most certainly not paying enterprise prices for features that you're never going to use. Now, pricing scales with your business. There's no hidden fees, there's no surprise quotes, and as a certified service provider for the streamlined sales tax program, TaxCloud gives you free filing in 24 states. It's not a promo. That is a structural cost advantage that compounds as you grow into more states. And TaxCloud reported in 2025 that businesses that are using the platform, save $15 million through SST discounts. And for businesses with, let's say, a more complex tax situation, TaxCloud's team is there to help you well beyond the basics. So let's say an audit comes up, they step in directly. They're preparing the documentation, they're handling the amended returns, they're guiding you through the reconciliations. Let's say you need help with voluntary disclosure agreements or advanced compliance services. That is available too. Now, most tools on this list do not offer anything close to that level of hands-on support. Also, integrations that cover Shopify, WooCommerce, BigCommerce, Odoo, Magento, QuickBooks Online, and also Stripe. And if you build something custom, there is a full API so you can plug TaxCloud into your own stack. Support, US-based, it's responsive, and it's real people. So over 2,000 businesses run their sales tax through TaxCloud. And in 2025, TaxCloud reported saving customers 273,000 hours in filing time. And TaxCloud is built for US sales tax. So let's say international VAT is part of your stack. You're still going to want to pair it with another tool for that piece. And while TaxCloud does not carry as many integrations as Avalara, it covers the platforms most e-commerce brands are actually running on. And for e-commerce brands that have outgrown that manual processes but just do not want the cost or that inflexibility of enterprise solutions, TaxCloud is built for exactly where you are. Let me now show you who the alternatives are and who each one is actually built for. So Avalara is the biggest name in sales tax software. So if you've Googled this category, you've most likely seen them. And for the large enterprises with international operations and in-house tax teams, Avalara is powerful. Over 700 integrations, global VAT and GST support. There is deep ERP connections, so it covers a lot. But here's the problem. For the mid-market e-commerce brands, you cannot see the price before you talk to the sales team. And it's not listed on their website. And from what is publicly available, you're at least at very minimum looking at $349 just for a single state registration. Also filing, that's gonna run you $42 to $54 per return plus the activation fees. And the things that you would expect to be included, like the returns filing, the integrations, and the exemption certificate management, they are sold as separate add-ons on top of the base calculation engine. In fact, one brand reported going from $100,000 to $150,000 a year on Avalara down to $25,000 to $30,000 after switching providers. Also, support is another issue because customers, they report offshore support. So there's long wait times, and then you have AI chatbots that cannot completely answer real compliance questions. So if you want that dedicated human support, you're gonna have to pay extra for the premium package. And if a state, let's say they actually audit you, well, you're on your own. You're handling that yourself. Now, Avalara does not offer the hands-on audit defense. They have a 4.1 rating on G2, and the verdict is that it works well for the global brands with in-house tax, accounting, and finance teams. But for those businesses that don't have that dedicated tax staff, it is overbuilt, it's overpriced, and it's under-supported. Now, TaxJar has been a go-to for the small e-commerce sellers and marketplace businesses on Amazon, eBay, and Etsy. Now, TaxJar auto-file feature that automates your filings, which is genuinely convenient. And for a long time, TaxJar was a solid, predictable option for smaller sellers that are getting started with the sales tax compliance. But here is something that you need to know if you're evaluating TaxJar in 2026, because in March of this year, TaxJar rolled out its first price increase in over 6 years. And I'm telling you, it's not a small one. Subscription costs, they're going up roughly 100% or more, most plan tiers. So a brand, let's say doing 25,000 annual transactions on the professional plan just jumped from about 12,000 a year to 25,000. Auto file fees, they're up 57% from 35 per filing to 55. And if you're filing monthly in 20 states, that's gonna be an extra $400 a month just in the filing costs. Also month-to-month customers, you keep your legacy pricing, but that's only until October 1st, 2026. And then after that, everyone is on the new rates. So annual subscribers will see it hit at the renewal as well. On top of the pricing, customers have reported that the support quality, well, it's dropped significantly since the Stripe acquisition. The team was reduced, the support was offshored, and the platform updates have been mostly limited to regulatory maintenance rather than on new features. And TaxJar still offers zero audit support. So if a state audits you, there's no one who is stepping in on your behalf. They have a 4.7 on G2. So the verdict is that it works for the smaller sellers and marketplace businesses, but the 2026 pricing update, well, that changes the math for anyone who is scaling beyond that. So if your order volume is growing, I want you to consider TaxJar carefully. Now, at current pricing, you may end up paying significantly more for less support than you would get elsewhere. Anrok is purpose-built for SaaS. So if you're a subscription business on Stripe Billing, Braintree, or Bill, Anrok handles exposure monitoring, registration, calculation, filing, and remittance. It is designed around recurring revenue models, and it does that well. Now, the startup plan runs $399 a month for companies under 5 million ARR, but that is the platform fee. Filing and then the registration costs, they sit on top of that, so your actual compliance spend is higher than the sticker price suggests. About 5 million ARR pricing is custom Anrok, and they're not a certified service provider for the streamlined sales tax program. So there is no free filing in 24 SST states. And every state is filed directly. There's no audit defense either. And if you're not a SaaS company, Anrok is not. It's not built for you. Now, Anrok scores a 4.5 on G2. Strong choice if you are a funded SaaS business. Pretty expensive for what you get, especially if e-commerce is your core business. Kintsugi is one of the newer players. So their pitch is speed. AI-driven automation, set up in minutes, a free monitoring plan to get started. So if you're a startup that just needs to get compliant fast without a long onboarding process, it is appealing. And Kintsugi uses a flat rate of 75 per filing. So that model works if you're filing in, let's say, a handful of states. But it can get expensive quickly as you scale, because at nearly 1,000 per state per year, the costs are going to add up fast, especially as your filing footprint grows. Now, integrations include Shopify, Amazon, Stripe, and QuickBooks, and the platform is still maturing, so the feature set and the integration library are not as deep as the established players. And because Kintsugi positions itself as an AI company, support leans heavily on the bots rather than on human experts. So their premium plan includes error insurance, which covers certain filing mistakes, but that is not the same as an actual audit defense. So if a state, let's say they audit you, there is no human team that is stepping in on your behalf. Kintsugi has a 4.7 on G2, pretty good starting point for early stage businesses, but a flat rate model does not scale, and the support model does not match what a growing brand actually needs when the compliance gets complicated. Numeral takes a similar approach to Kintsugi. So pay per state instead of per month. So that's 75 per filing, 150 per registration. So if you're only filing in 3 to 5 states, it's one of the cheaper options that is actually out there. And they pitch simplicity. Most customers, they spend about 5 minutes a month on compliance, but the same scaling problem applies. Filing in 30 states, that's gonna run you roughly $2,250 a month. And unlike a flat subscription, those costs are gonna climb linearly every single time you expand into a new state. So the bigger concern here is reliability. Now, Numeral leans heavily into agentic AI workflows to automate filings, but customers have reported persistent filing issues. They're reporting missed deadlines, just overall poor communication from their team. So when your compliance depends on filings being accurate and on time, well, the growing pains on the provider side, they're going to become your problem. Also, there's no audit support. And Numeral has a 4.8 on G2. Simple, affordable, if you're a smaller seller in a handful of states, but between the pricing that does not scale and then the reported reliability issues, it is a genuine risk for a growing brand with real compliance obligations. Now, Vertex is the other legacy heavyweight alongside Avalara. Deep integrations with SAP, Oracle, and NetSuite. Now, multiple products within the platform handle very different parts of sales tax compliance, which makes it harder to navigate. So if you're a large enterprise, and let's say you're managing complex global tax obligations across ERP systems, well, Vertex is built exactly for that. Now, for everyone else, it's an overkill because pricing is custom and it is opaque. Implementation, it's complex, the learning curve is steep, and like most enterprise tools, there are no hands-on audit support, and they focus on risk reduction through automation. Vertex scores a 4.3 on G2, so it's built for the larger enterprises that are running on SAP and doing business in 50 countries. A few more are worth mentioning. Now, Zip.Tax is convenient if you're already on Stripe. Shopify Tax works well if you're on Shopify. So both of them handle the real-time tax calculation at checkout, but filing as well as audit support are outsourced to third-party partners. Now, DAVO is excellent for brick and mortar businesses that are on POS systems like Clover and Square, and it auto withholds sales tax daily. Now, Quaderno and Lovat are also strong picks if you need the global VAT and the GST compliance across dozens of countries. And Zip.Tax focuses on accurate address-level sales tax calculation, and it also offers a flexible API with usage-based pricing, so it makes it a very strong fit for developers that are building the custom tax workflows. So these are all incredibly useful tools if they fit your specific situation, but they are not what most growing US e-commerce brands are choosing between. So let's bring it all together here. So Avalara is best for the large enterprises. TaxJar is best for marketplace sellers, but watch the 2026 pricing. Anrok is for SaaS companies. Kintsugi is great for fast startup setup. And Numeral works for small sellers in a few states. Now, Vertex is for enterprise ERP environments. And as I showed you at the top, TaxCloud is the best overall for those mid-market US e-commerce brands. Also, transparent pricing. It does not surprise you as you scale, and the free filing in 24 states through the streamlined sales tax program. And US-based human support. Yes, human support when the sales tax gets complicated. Now, if your business has reached the point where the sales tax cannot be an afterthought anymore, but you just do not need or even want to pay for an enterprise solution that is built for a completely different kind of company, TaxCloud is built for exactly where you are. There are over 2,000 growing e-commerce businesses that are already running their compliance through it.